episode of Naruto Shippuden, the Genin have finally arrived at the Demon Desert. They meet up with Fu, who wants to party, throw down, and have 100 friends, and she even fights with a giant three-tailed scorpion. This week's episode was the best one of the tuning exams thus far, mostly because they're introducing the principal cast, and they all look awesome. They don't even all look all that generic as well. In particular, I love the Hidden Sand Ninja, and I love the Hidden Grass Ninja. In particular, the guy with the big pompadour. The dude's absolutely awesome.
Yes, he actually got a little bit of development. He got to see him fight a little bit, but one of my favorite skirmishes of this episode was Lee versus the other, was he Hidden Sand?
He's a Hidden Sand Ninja by the name of Shira.
And obviously, Lee, goes up to him, he's like, okay, look, man, I'm not trying to sound all into myself, but I'm pretty strong, and you just stopped my kick, no problem. And it's obvious that you've gone through some hardships. And I was like, no shit, the dude has a scar across his throat. You know, what do you think is happening to this guy? He hasn't exactly had an awesome childhood, most likely. And that was my favorite part of this chapter, was like Lee and him sort of communicating and actually seeing these characters get developed before they have to go and start fighting, which I think is what we all care about, not because we like the fighting in the series, is, to me, that's where these characters shine a lot.
There's one other guy who's a member of the Pompadour guys team. I think his name is Buromi. He's just this big, fat, sweaty guy. The minute you see him walking towards the food, my first thought was, how in the hell did these guys make it to the village?
Maybe he can use his sweat to levitate, or he ate the sweat.
Maybe they rolled his ass there. And that could just be a joke on the fact that the guy's big and fat.
He's got the meat sweats.
Exactly. This could be a hint to maybe what his powers could be. Maybe they're going to be related to sweat. I mean, I have seen other anime series where people have used sweat as a weapon. Akame ga Kill brings to mind. But the other things that are going on in this episode is all this stuff that's going on outside of the tuning exams. We have Kakashi, who's still trying to infiltrate Hidden Rain Village. He feels that he's being looked at by ghosts. This is obviously a nice reference to the fact that he's being watched by the different bodies of pain. There's even that one shot where you see the eye for like a split second. Then there's that scene at the very beginning of the episode where there's this other subplot going on where there are these people within the Hidden Sand Village who are trying to reform everything, probably because they don't want this Jinchuriki to rule over them. And there's this one guy who's dressed as Zoro, basically. That's the way you said it.
Yes, but not One Piece Zoro, the Spanish Zoro.
The Spanish Z Zoro. And he's fighting against Gaara and Kankuro, and there's this scene where he has all of these explosive tags all over his body, and then Tamari comes in and blows him off this rooftop where he just explodes in midair. So clearly, things are not really going too well in Hidden Sand Village, and I'm imagining this is probably going to carry on into this tuning exam and probably make things seem a little more intense. But the biggest thing about this week's episode is the food fight scene and how Fu gets involved. Now, Fu is a Jinchuriki, and she's already been shown that she probably has some cool powers. They even hint at them in this week's episode because their team was the first one to arrive in Hidden Sand, and there's this scene where Choji is desperately trying to get food from the older Jonin teachers by going across this building in the middle of a sandstorm, and there's this big monstrous scorpion out there, and Fu has to end up saving both Choji, Ino, and Sakura. And as soon as she jumps out the window, there's actually a hint to her powers. You can actually hear wings fluttering, and that's because she's the Jinchuriki of the Seven Tails, which indeed does have wings on its back, just like a bug.
She's like, oh, I wanna have friends, and I saved your life, so maybe we could hang out for... Nah, we're good. You know, no one thanks anyone here. It's like they want to all respect each other's villages, but Sakura even gets healed by someone and barely says thank you.
And that's something that, yeah, that's a good point. And that is something that's interesting. I think they're legitimately trying to set up rivalries between certain characters. Like you had Rock Lee and you had Shira, and then you have that one medical ninja who's just like Sakura. Yes. Basically, they're setting up the fights already for what's going to be happening in this battle. But yeah, it's annoying that everybody's just ignoring Fu and the constant comparisons to the fact that Fu is basically just a female Naruto.
It seems that Jinchurikis come in two flavors. One, super serious, or super silly. And I think we definitely have our Naruto clone. She's definitely filling Naruto's headband, if you will, while he's out of the series for this arc. And I don't know, it's kind of the most annoying aspects of Naruto, but she's also super powerful, and I'm sure she'll have some cool stuff coming up. Pretty much the last thing that comes in on this episode is each teams are going to get a Heaven Scroll or a Earth Scroll, and they have to get both scrolls. So they're going to have to trade with the other teams or fight with them.
This is pretty much identical to the Forest of Death part of the tuning exam from the original series, except the setting now is going to be completely different. And just the fact that it's like a big open desert, just what are they going to do with this? And if you look at the preview for the next episode, I'm excited because all the character designs for the new characters look great. There's this one creepy looking bird looking dude who has a long nose, face paint all over his face. It looks like there's this one guy who's a puppet who almost seems like he has puppet arms on his back, which is makes sense because he's a hidden sand ninja. I love the hidden sand ninjas, especially that one guy who has the mask and everything. I love mask looking ninjas. They always look so cool. They look like characters out of Mortal Kombat. So this week's episode, I think, was exciting. So what's the rundown on this week's episode? It was good. They're finally getting into the story. The animation was a little better. It was a little sloppy at parts.
Better than last week, but overall pretty good. But there were some low points.
Yeah, like, during the food fight scene, which was mostly played for laughs, I really don't think that was supposed to be like a big action scene. Some of the animation was a little stiff in some parts, and it could have looked better. Despite that, I just love the fact that they're finally introducing the new characters, which are really the main thing about this arc that I really care about.
And there's so many things going on. You got the Kakashi's subplot might kind of be over.
Yeah. I don't really think there's much more they can do with it.
But you also have the political unrest that's going on with Gaara, and I like that subplot. That's actually, to me, one of the most... There's no room for humor in that one, and I like the seriousness of it. And then you also have, obviously, the tuning exams, and there's like 10 different little things going on within that one. So I like how busy and how active this story is, so I really enjoyed this episode.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5.
So am I. I really like this one a lot. Really, the only thing I'm going to give it slow for is just some of the animation. The artwork could have been a little bit better. But this has definitely, I think, been the best episode of the brand new tuning exam arc. And you should definitely check it out if you're a fan of the series. 4 out of 5 from us. Good stuff.
Yeah, and if you're going to check that out, you might want to also check out our new podcast, the Powerful Nerdcast. We have started podcasting. We're going to record our 3rd episode today, so there's 2 other episodes you can check out from our archive that is growing. And we're trying to keep them at about an hour each, and they're a lot of fun. And Corey and I just hang out and talk about nerdy stuff, everything from anime to just pop culture stuff. So definitely go check out those videos as well. We'll have a link in the video description and in the video for that if you want to check that out. Also, make sure and like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. And we also have a PayPal account if you want to donate to the channel, or you can just use our Amazon Associates link and buy anything you want off Amazon, and we get a little bit of that, and it helps out the channel a lot. So thank you guys, but always the best way is like the video and just share it with your friends. So thank you so much, everyone, and until next time, Super Kami Guru 9000 out.